Listen to the sounds of Purdue University. Although the events of the school year 1958 and 59 are past, their sounds have been captured. Purdue's campus, with over 13,000 students, has many sounds typical of a large American university. But Purdue's sounds are its own, not to be found in the same form at any other school. Each is as characteristic as the little train which runs through the campus. These sounds are heard walking past the armory, in the exponent office at 3 a.m., after Big Ten football victories. Some of the most collegiate sounds are connected with sports. There are cheers, even growls. But most often, and most widely heard, were the sounds of controversy which raged all over the country during the football season. This is Mel Allen, NBC TV.
The Purdue band will divide into two blocks on the field. The drummers come to the center, surround a small stage on which Purdue's golden girl, Addie Darling, dressed in a Hawaiian costume, dances to the Hawaiian war chant. Hang in there.
Dear editor, by this time everyone is well aware that the university has a new golden girl. In fact, after last Saturday's halftime exhibition on nationwide television, everyone in the country knows it. Granted, the new girl is a good showman and appeals to some types of people. But is this the impression we want football fans to have of Purdue? She not only walks and talks, but wiggles excessively. The formidable.
Last week, there has been a little bit of controversy going on campus.
More comment was caused by the old oaken bucket. It was stolen from the field house and returned before the game, but then was the object of discussion when Purdue and IU tied. Pop Doan explained Purdue's position.
Gentlemen, this is the real old oaken bucket. Been on a little trip, but here it is. I have been asked dozens of times in the last 2 days what the disposition of the bucket would be in case of a tie. To go back to just a little history, the last tie that occurred was in 1936. At that time, the bucket was in possession of Indiana. And I suggested at that time that we split the thing up like we did in 1925 when the first game in the series resulted in a tie. They said, no, you can't have the bucket because you didn't earn it. I have been cherishing that thought in my mind for 22 years. Now, by gosh, if they get this bucket, there's only two ways to do it. They'll either have to win the game or steal it again.
The bucket is traditionally used in the finale of Varsity Varieties, one of the biggest sounds of Purdue.
We started off the show with an act from Purdue, then we went back 40 years. We went, where? To Jamaica, to Germany, back to the States, and now we're back to Purdue again. This next act, Reciprocal Ratio, is going to be accompanied by Letha Faust, and it's presented by Southeast X, Southwest X, and Kerry Hall, and that's just about everybody.
Say, Marge, have you been able to arrange any trade parties yet this year? How can you have a trade party with no men? Yeah, that's our trouble, too.
You know, things are really getting bad. I think I'll go down to Harriet's chocolate shop and drown my sorrows in a big chocolate soda.
But what can we do?
We get lonely and we long with a fair and gentle sex. We would like to feel the feeling of some arms around our necks. We spend fortunes on our hairdos and to manicure our nails. What can we buy? We can't buy nails. We've got telephone roulette. We've got lions that can roar. We've got Boilermaker specials and a union we adore. We've got automatic bowling lanes and colors gold and black. What ain't we got?
We have only the minute evidence here and there of the masculine gender on the premises of this inimitable institution.
There is nothing like a male, nothing quite so dear. If we only had a male, our frustrations would disappear. We've got older oaken buckets, we've got newer co-red gyms, we've got concrete where our lawns were and a sweet shop for our wins. We've got male and female students, but the ratio's 1 to 10. What ain't we got? We ain't got men. There is nothing like a male. His arms, his build and face. He's a fabulous detail that the IBM can't replace. Nothing acts like a male or attracts like a male. Nothing lies like a male or supplies like a male. Nothing necks like a male. There's no sex like a male. There's not a thing that's wrong with any man here. We'll take him even with a beard. A manly, muscle-bound, hero, masculine man.
It's the All-American Band!
Hey, you know it's not me!
It's the Golden Boy!
Tradition is a major part of university life. Purdue has a large number of legends and monuments making up her body of tradition. New ones are often added.
The Varsity Walk Award is presented annually to a senior athlete, either male or female, who is outstanding in sportsmanship, scholarship, and leadership, and who has done much to further the name and purposes of Purdue University. This is rather a milestone for the Reamer Club in that in 3 years this is the first award presented to a female. Very briefly on campus, she's been a member of the Lafayette Swim Club, Sportswomen, Triton, WRA Council, Green Guard, Gold Peppers, Del Kappa. She's been president, vice president, pledge trainer, scholarship chairman, intramural manager of Delta Gamma Sorority, also the recipient of the State Day Outstanding Senior Alumni Award. She's been the Indiana, New Jersey, Montana State Diving Championship, Junior National Diving Champion, Junior National 50-yard, 200-meter individual medley champion, Junior National record holder, member of 2 breaking teams, recipient of Outstanding New Jersey Swimmer, high point scorer in the Indiana State Meet in 1954, 4th place winner in the new U.S. National Championships, and is presently an alternate to the 1960 Olympic team. And she's right off stage now, Miss Mary Croak. On behalf of the club, Mary, your shingle, and our heartiest congratulations.
Thank you
once
very
again.
Much.
Sometimes traditions are lost and then revived.
We are here to dedicate a symbol of the friendship and the romance of Purdue. The original ladies' dormitory stood a few feet west of here, and the only reason the women could come out of the dormitory after ladies' hours around 7:30 was to get a drink of water. And they used this opportunity to come to the pump and meet their boyfriends. The idea to restore the pump began last fall and was formulated as a project of the Reamer Club pledge class. We felt the pump represented to the students of today something of the spirit of Purdue, especially the friendliness that we associate with Purdue. True, it's only a piece of wood, but in that piece of wood is embodied something of the spirit of Purdue.
A new sound was heard on Purdue's campus last year. The Grand Prix, sponsored by the Purdue Auto Club. Its first race, won by Gable Courts, established a new activity.
Adhesive tape. Where's the tape?
No, the gasoline through it.
No, not rubber tape.
Not rubber tape. Tape the tank up.
Today's race is being broadcast by WMRH over the facilities of Purdue residents.
Now wait. Now wait. Cut a short piece.
Play Shop, one of Purdue's major activities, made a hit with its first musical this year, Guys and Dolls.
I deeply appreciate the high privilege which has been extended me to appear for a brief moment on this significant occasion in the life of Purdue University to review the background and purposes which have inspired this building which we here dedicate.
It was the Memorial Center that was being dedicated. This is the voice of Dr. R.B. Stewart.
The thought of an additional structure to augment our extensive Memorial Union and Hall of Music facilities, to provide for the more scholarly or intellectual socialization of the university, so to speak, was the subject of a memorandum from my office to President Edward C. Elliott about 1942. By 1953, our committee had succeeded in fitting solutions in the several areas of our needs into a workable plan. The architect had skillfully planned his solution so it could be constructed in 3 sections. First, the great south portion of the structure containing the adult education meeting rooms, student activity rooms, exhibition halls, auditorium, and a television center. Second, the unit in which this meeting is held and which provides for all the related dramatic activities of our students and staff. And finally, a central section which affords a vast library center, including all the audiovisual techniques and devices so needed to improve the means of communication through time and space everywhere. This center, through the next centuries, will play an important role in the complete and mature development of educated and useful citizens, so sorely needed for the task confronting the generations yet to come.
Since the building is so large, everyone was confused by it. The most bewildering of the facilities is the library. In fact, even Dr. Stewart had his troubles there.
I spent an hour and a half the other night in trying to find some reference material. I got lost twice and was about to call for the police when I found my good friend Dr. Harriet O'Shea, a constant user of the library, whom I thought could help me. But she too was lost. And I finally was approached by a very gracious young lady who proved to be a member of Mr. Moriarty's staff, who got lost again twice with me, and finally found the volume I sought in the stacks of the old library, and it hadn't even been moved. I say this to encourage the staff and students of the university not to give up the first time you try it. It's here, and they'll find it if you can.
Another feature of Progress, the classes on closed-circuit television. Progress has its advantages for the students. Television pictures go only one way.
Also, meine Damen und Herren, sind Sie alle da? Hä? Wie viele sind denn da? Hä? Sagen Sie mir, wie viele sind da? 14? So, das ist ja eine schöne große Klasse heute, nicht? Also, Sie müssen doppelt so viel Lärm machen, verstehen Sie? Hä? Sie müssen Lärm genug für 40 machen. You got to make twice as much noise. Können Sie das, hä?
The football team made progress too, with the best record since 43.
Here's the lineup for Purdue University. Left end, number 46, Dick Buch. Left tackle, number 76, Jerry Beabout. Left guard, number 55, Fred Brando. Center, number 56, Sam Joyner. Right guard, number 67, Ron Maltoni. Right tackle, number 66, Gene Solowski. Right end, number 84, Tom Frankhauser. Quarterback, number 18, Ross Tiekner. Left halfback, number 41, Tom Barnett. Right halfback, number 43, Leonard Wilson. Fullback, number 33, Jack Laraway.
Here's the play-by-play by WBAA's Johnny DeCamp, who gives an accurate and objective account of the games.
First down for the Boilermakers. There's a real break. This is the first down, and it must be on less than the 6-inch line. We can't see any green grass between the end of that ball and the goal line. Our angle's a little sharp, but nevertheless, it's awfully close to the goal line. Must be inside the 6-inch line. Boilermakers will have 4 tries from here. Let's see if they can get it in for the first touchdown. The senior derbies will go up if they get it in. Hand off to Jars. He is in, clearly in for a touchdown. And there's the first touchdown of the season for Purdue. It's 6-0 in the second quarter. Purdue over Nebraska. The Derbies on the far side of the field, traditionally thrown up in the air by seniors after their first touchdown.
Purdue went on to trounce Nebraska 28-0. Then followed victories over Rice and Michigan State, and a loss to Wisconsin. This year, the Purdue-Notre Dame contest was held at South Bend. After building up an early lead, the Boilermakers ran out the clock in the closing seconds.
They've got to maintain the ball, and they've got to keep from hurting any Irishmen in the time remaining. That means you almost have to take the ball and run the other way to kill time. Clock is going now, 10 seconds. The Boilermakers still in a huddle, taking their time, just talking, whooping it up a little bit. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. That's it. An Irishman grabs the ball and runs out of there. Notre Damer grabs the ball. Bill Mack thinks the Irish should have the game ball, and that's all right with us. We'd rather have the win than the game ball. Go ahead and put the ball in your trophy case and write on it, Purdue 29, Notre Dame 22.
Probably the most exciting action of the '58 season took place at Ohio State. Here the Boilermakers spotted OSU 14 points, but came on in the closing minutes to tie the Buckeyes.
2 minutes, 7 seconds left to go in the ball game. Purdue on the Buckeyes' 7-yard line. Come on, you Boilermakers. And here's the call by Fichtner. The give to Jarvis. A fake, a throw in the end zone. Complete to Brooks for the touchdown. Brooks took it in the end zone for the touchdown. He was hit by Dick LeBeau as he took the pass at the touchdown with Jarvis the duck. The little throw over the center right to Richie Brooks. Touchdown, Purdue, 14-12 the count. Ohio State leading Purdue by 2, and the Buckeyes leaped into that 14-0 lead. Now they're going to have to protect it as the Boilermakers are getting Clyde Washington in for the Boilermaker backfield. Clyde Washington in with a play from the bench. Let's see if the Purdue's can make this good for 2. 2 minutes, 2 seconds left to go in the ball game. They need 2 points. That ought to be a good omen. Here they come up to the line of scrimmage. The quarterback is Ross Fichtner. Here's the call. A quick pitch to Clyde Washington running wide to his right. He gets set. Has to come back this side. There's a throw in there. In the far corner to Brooks for 2. Washington saw Brooks in there way over to his left all alone. Tie ball game. 14-14. The Purdue's came back in brilliant fashion during the second half and tied it up 14-all.
Ross-Ade Stadium was the scene of the final game of the season, the annual Purdue-Indiana encounter.
3rd and 10 for Indiana on their own 33-yard line. No score in the football game. We're in the first quarter with 9 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Indiana 3rd and 10 in the single wing to the right. Their line is balanced. Here's a quick kick. Blocked by a Boilermaker. Chased on this side. Grabbed out of the air by Jack Laraway. He set sail down this sideline, and he is in for the touchdown. That's the one the Boilermakers worked on this week. They thought they could get one of those quick kicks. They did. The ball was blocked by Jerry Bebout. Laraway took it as it came down after going up in the air about 10 yards. Hauled it in, ran this side with plenty of convoys of blockers down this side. McDonald tried to get to Laraway, but he couldn't. Jack was too fast, and there was a blocker out ahead, Tommy Barnett, that kept McDonald away. And now to kick the point after touchdown, Skip Ohl comes in the ball game as the Boilermakers lead 6-0. Purdue worked on blocking that quick kick during the week. Their key was the fact that Indiana lined up with McDonald 7 yards deep instead of 5 yards deep, and that time they got the job done beautifully, just as rehearsed. The air is filled with big, long, yellow sausage balloons, touchdown balloons. There's the kick. It's good. Purdue leads 7-0.
The Hoosiers fought back to tie the game. The final score, 15-15. The Boilermakers finished in 4th place in the Big Ten, with a record of 3 victories, 1 defeat, and 2 ties in conference play, and an overall record of 6-1-2. Purdue has its own group which has made a name for itself throughout the Midwest.
At 8:30 in the ballrooms, the Salty Dogs. We'll be putting on a jazz concert. It's free for everybody. And a lot of you freshmen that are here have never heard the Salty Dogs, and it's really an experience. So try to get over there tonight at 8:30 in the ballrooms.
Another group, which has become well known off campus, is the National Collegiate Champion Drill Team, which has an outstanding record in nationwide competition.
By rank from the rear, order review.
Famous people from the entertainment world are seen and heard on campus. After home football games, victory variety shows feature top entertainers. Here is an interview with Will Jordan.
I once did an impression of Ed Sullivan exactly as he really is, and it didn't go over at all.
No.
It was when I started to add.
You have to
not
exaggerate it?
Well, not really exaggerate, add, I would say, because exaggerating wasn't enough. I added shoulder shrugs and knuckle cracks and near burps and stuff, and the first thing you know, it caught on. My impersonation of Sullivan, the character I do of Ed Sullivan, is actually better known than Ed Sullivan is today. It sounds funny, but the really big shoe Ed Sullivan is better known than the Sullivan who never says really big, who never says shoe, or any of those things. You watch him any Sunday night. And he also doesn't talk like this either. He talks like this. But if I were to imitate him like this, it wouldn't go over. And I've noticed this with all impressions, that they must be changed and added to.
And Ernie Kovacs.
Ernie, did you start out the show business as a comedian?
I haven't even ended as a comedian, Bill. I just started. I had no particular aptitude for anything. I had no ability of any kind, and I felt that show business was about the only place for me. And you think I'm kidding?
Big name bands are also brought to Purdue. The military ball featured Buddy Morrow's dance music and Pee Wee Hunt's Dixieland. The climax of the social activities is the junior prom. Here is the crowning of the 1958 junior prom queen.
The 1958 junior prom queen is Miss Julie Vaughn. She can't believe it. Julie, on behalf of the class of 1959, I take great honor to crown you queen of the 1958 junior prom.
Thank you so much. I'd just like to thank everybody who made this possible. I think this is one of the most thrilling moments I've ever had. Thank you all very much. Even if it's falling off. Oh, goodness.
Purdue students will long remember the voices of their professors. Professor Urselchuk tells his investments class about stocks and bonds.
If the yield on these bonds are so low, then it means that the price of the bond is too high. Therefore, the price is going to be subject to change with the change in the price of the common stock. And if the common stock drops, the bond price will drop also. No sense, therefore, trying to buy a bond because it does not carry any merit as a bond, because of the lower yields. But in the case of Olin Matheson, it is carrying merit as a bond because any drop in the price of the common will not bring about a similar drop in the price of the bond.
Professor Canfield explains business procedures to his electrical engineering seniors.
Of course, there's some psychology in that for engineers. That's why I'm emphasizing it. We round our figures out. Usually we get 2 or 3 significant figures. Good enough. We go about our business. The accountant, however, even in the case of over $1 billion, they figure that cockeyed stuff down to the last cent. And if the bookkeeper can't find that last cent, he sits up all night until he does. This, of course, to a bunch of engineers is an asinine procedure. But in the bookkeeping department, you must check these things to the last cent.
ROTC students will long remember the commands of their officers at Combined Corps Day.
Attention and give them present arms. Company commanders, bring your companies to attention and give them present arms.
The most inspiring sounds are heard at Christmas. Al Stewart leads over 6,000 persons singing carols at the Christmas Convocation. Singing is again heard in the spring. The annual Serenade to Mothers, University Sing. Here are the voices of the men of Pi Kappa Phi.
In the sky the bright stars glitter, on the bank the pale moon shone, and 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie home. I was seeing Nellie home. I was seeing Nellie home. And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie home. On my arm a soft hand rested light as ocean flow. And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie home. I was seeing Nellie home. I was seeing Nellie home. And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing. There's no place like home. On my lips a whisper trembled till it dared to come. And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie home. I was seeing Nellie home. Seeing darling Nellie home. Nellie home. Seeing darling Nellie. And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie home. On my life, those were dawning and those hopes that lived and grown. And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's party I saw my darling Nellie home. I was seeing Nellie home. I was seeing Nellie from Aunt Dinah's quilting party I was seeing Nellie. I was seeing Nellie, I was seeing darling Nellie home. I was seeing darling Nellie home.
This year's basketball team will be remembered for its exciting and colorful play. With 8 seniors, including the previous year's first 5, the team had plenty of experience and was among the favorites picked to win the Big Ten championship. The Boilermakers started the season by compiling an impressive 7-1 record in non-conference play. Many new records were set during the season. Against Illinois, the Cagers set a new Purdue record for the most points scored in one Big Ten game.
100-81, Purdue leads. Here's Perry's second shot. It's in and out, no good. Taken off on this side, tied up by Kamen and by Bob Schmidt. They'll jump, tipped by Kamen out here on this side, grabbed by Schmidt, goes off on this side to Molenbrock. His shot's up, no good. Rebounded by Phil Boring, up ahead to Oral. Oral brings it down fast, stops, jump, shoots. It's good. Bobby Oral has his second basket. There's the end of the ball game. 102-81.
One of the most exciting games of the season was the Michigan State game, played at the Purdue Fieldhouse. Some typical exciting action.
49-43 Michigan State. Willie Merriweather up for Purdue over the 10-second line. Stops back of the key, lays off into Eisen, back out to Austin. Austin fakes, comes into the back of the alley, a bounce out to Fairman. Fairman fakes, a bounce over to Eisen along the end line. He gets away, lays it up under the basket, no good. Grabbed by Grieve, a whistle, no whistle, into Fairman. He wheels a hooker in. Fairman in the alley, hooked one in. And it's 45-49. Michigan State by 4. Faz down over the 10-second line. Down the far side to Walker. Walker moves, jumps a pass in there. 2 Faz in the corner into Greene. Greene gets under the basket, blocked by Merriweather as he goes up. Grabs the ball, throws under the basket to Olson. He gets away, shoots no good. Tipped away, grabbed by Austin. He brings it out ahead to Merriweather. Too far, he goes under, lays it up and in. Oh, he thought Willie could never slow down in time, but he did. 49-47, Michigan State by 2. Faz a bounce into Greene. He gets away, goes up under the basket, lays it in, good. Greene working under the basket for Michigan State, makes it 51-47. Here's Austin under the basket, ice, and he shoots, scores, and he's fouled. Fouled by Johnny Greene. Walker out of the ball game, replaced by Art Gowans for Michigan State. Walker has 4 fouls on him. Art Gowans is in. Here's Eisen to the free throw line for Purdue. It's 51-49. Eisen's free pitch is good. 51-50. Michigan State by just 1 now. Ball brought up by Olson down the far side to Anderegg. He shoots from out that sideline. It's no good, too long. Rebounded by John Greene. Tied up by Bob Fairman. They go down to the deck with Greene jerking on Fairman, and Fairman just obligingly falling over backwards on Greene. This Greene is a rough, tough customer, and he can really go up in the air. Tipped by Greene out in the backcourt. Austin tips it away. Breaks out of here. Here comes Harvey Austin down. Goes under the basket. Lays it over his head. Good. A beauty by Harvey Austin. His third basket puts the Boilermakers back into the lead. 52-51. The ball brought down by Faz of Michigan State.
Purdue came out on top against the Spartans. Final score, 85-81. More action from the Purdue-Indiana encounter.
It's out of bounds for Purdue. Merriweather passes it into Austin. Here comes Austin up for the Boilermakers. Down that sideline of Lyons. He fakes, moves, jump shoots. It's up. It's no good. Rebounded by Eisen. And in. Good. Eisen got the rebound. It is Purdue in the lead again, 68-67. Passed into Gary Long of Indiana. Gary Long brings it up now for the Hoosiers. Over the 10-second line out back to Lee. Lee on this side to Long. Long comes on down the side, gets to Radovich. Radovich along the sideline, fakes. Fakes again now, holds the ball up overhead, turns around, eyes the basket, tries to drive. Eisen steals the ball. Brings it out ahead to Lyons. Lyons moves on down. Over to Austin. He drives under, lays it up, and in and out. And he's fouled by Johnson. Austin missed his triple, but he was fouled by Johnson. And that might be 5 on Johnson. That's all on Johnson. He's out of the ball game. And Austin, he missed that layup on a nice feed.
The Boilermakers won that one too, 94-89. The starting 5 of Grieve, Fairman, Eisen, Austin, and Merriweather, plus 6th man Charlie Lyons, were all seniors. Willie Merriweather set an all-time Purdue individual scoring record by scoring 457 points this season. Here are the points that put Willie over the top against Minnesota. This broke Joe Sexton's former record. Willie was also picked as Purdue's most valuable player and was named to the All-Big Ten team. The Boilermakers finished the season in a tie for second with a record of 8 victories and 6 defeats. Overall record, 15 wins against 7 losses. The last sounds heard by Purdue seniors are the sounds of the commencement ceremony. They bring to an appropriate end the seniors' life at Purdue and the sounds of the 1958 and 59 school year.
Gives me particular pleasure today to present one of those people who has served the university with great distinction as a teacher, professor, and scholar for 37 years, and is one of those rare people who is known as a great teacher. And when an institution possesses such men and women on its faculty, it can count itself fortunate. Your speaker this morning will be Professor James Hugh McKee.
An old commencement day speaker should say something to you about the world, and you. There should be something that you seniors could do for America and the world in this very dangerous time of silly Sputniks and dangerous atoms and hysteria and substituting physics for music in kindergarten and unimaginative economics, and defense that does not defend, and international bribery. Some fundamental appraisal is due. We should have less emphasis on show-off and more on living. When I tell students that things are pretty bad in America and in the world, they just smile and do not believe me. Whether this is the blessedness of ignorance or an assertion of the energy and potential capability of youth, I do not know. Maybe the old people and the young might integrate a little and arrive at rational, energetic, helpful action. What I have been recommending may be simply primitive Christianity. And any hard-bitten practicalist will tell you that that, of course, could not be expected to work. There's a big job for you. The population is willing, and your fellow citizens are pretty nice people and deserve the best of you.
In this presence, observing the custom of institutions of higher learning, exercising the authority of the trustees of Purdue University, legally vested by the people of the state of Indiana, and acting for the faculty of this institution, I now confer upon you who have fulfilled the requirements of an undergraduate curriculum of one of the several schools, the appropriate baccalaureate degree, with all the rights and privileges appertaining thereto, here and elsewhere.
These, then, are the sounds of Purdue. These fleeting moments that make up the life of a living force that is a university. From September to May, from registration to commencement, a university, a way of life.